While some families are enjoying a delicious Easter dinner, we are slaving over a hot microphone with a little McDonald's K-Cup coffee. And this is what the Bambino has
didn't say nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. One other thing. He's left me a half a bag of Snyder of Hanover pretzels for the next 2 nights because he is going to be off. But tomorrow night, right after the Allegheny Health Network program Medical Frontiers, we'll have a very special couple of hours. He will be in the 9 o'clock hour with Greg Diolis. We're paying tribute to Dan Rooney. And also in that hour, Mike Ditka, Aliquippa native, and of course Ditka's Restaurants, and you know him for many years on ESPN, and the former head coach of the Super Bowl champion Chicago Bears, also a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame as an incredible player, talking all about the Rooneys, as in Dan Rooney especially. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock hour, it will be some local dignitaries, former Governor Tom Corbett, Allegheny County Chief Exec Rich Fitzgerald, and also Corey O'Connor, councilman whose late father, Bob O'Connor, the mayor, and Mr. Rooney were very close friends. So it's all coming up tomorrow night. Let's begin about Mr. Dan Rooney. You and I both had relationships with him. Tell me about the time he took you in his plane. He was a pilot.
Well, and this was the time the Steelers were building the Heinz Field. PNC Park was under construction, and I had covered the Plan B, all the meetings, and Mr. Rooney happened to mention that he often flew his plane to keep up with the construction, and I posed the idea that, hey, can you take us up with you? And Post-Gazette photographer and I went up and flew over the point and looked at the stadium, and it was just an incredible experience for Mr. Rooney to accommodate us to take us up in his airplane, and he was that kind of a guy.
Real man of the people, obviously, not just for the people of Pittsburgh, but his players, who he really looked at as family with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, it is going to be the Penguins today, and boy, how smart do they look keeping Marc-Andre Fleury around, especially Jim Rutherford, as they're getting ready to possibly go 3 games up on Columbus later at the Nationwide Arena.
Nothing says Easter Sunday like a good old-fashioned hockey, whatever it is. Matt Calvert suspended for a game for that cheap shot hit at the end of the game on Kuhnhackl, which is finally they're going to maybe put a stop to some of this stuff. But it's the Penguin speed against the Columbus Blue Jackets is brawn, and Marc-Andre Fleury, maybe the story of this whole playoff.
All right, in baseball, yesterday, Andrew McCutchen, 24-mile-an-hour win. Boom. He hits a 3-run homer. That powers a 5-run 7th inning. They come back and beat the Cubs. That's what you call something to build on.
Absolutely. You're down 4 to Arrieta in the first inning, and it's looking like a long afternoon, but they've won more games this year in Wrigley than they did all of last year. So anytime you have a comeback on the road like they did, and this is defending world champion, it's got to put some oxygen in your lungs.
We were talking about Mr. Dan Rooney, and one of his close friends was Arnold Palmer, and both of them passing away recently. Just Henry Hillman, just so many of the icons of Pittsburgh and the region in recent months. Mr. Hillman the other day as well, and we're going to be talking more about him tomorrow night as well. But, the thing about Arnold, his legacy living on in his grandson, Sam Saunders, and in the early part of the RBC heritage at Hilton Head, he was doing pretty well. How nice would it be to see that man? Hard to duplicate Granddad, but to have some major success on the PGA Tour, that'd be great for the game of golf.
Yes, and it would be the carrying on of the legacy. And it's interesting, you mentioned Palmer and Mr. Hillman and Mr. Rooney. These were such giants. When they're gone, you feel that loss, but yet you have to, at the same time, celebrate their contributions to the city, to the region, and nationally. So let's take time to celebrate who they were, what they did, much like an Irish wake.
Absolutely. And the last thing I'll leave you with is this. You being a product of the 60s and a journalist that was always looking for what was really behind the name with all the money. But the reason I know that I'm right about Mr. Rooney and Mr. Hillman and Mr. Palmer, I hold in the highest esteem, is because you, the journalist who have seen both sides of it, realize good when you see it.
He was the brains behind the Steelers. I mean, the chief would have been the heart and soul. Dan Rooney is the reason for the Steelers' success in the 70s and beyond. The reason they were moved to Three Rivers and later to Heinz Field. He made the most important decisions in franchise history on and off the field.
And one of them deciding to leave the old NFL.
Yeah, when the realignment happened in 1970, the Steelers broke with the traditional NFL and with Cleveland and the Baltimore Colts joined the AFC, he had the vision and the foresight to see that football was going in a completely new direction, and they were right there on the crest of it.
God bless you, Mr. Rooney, and to your family, your wife, obviously, Pat, and all of the people that really
The
are.
children.
Yeah, the part of that Rooney clan,
Yeah.
and our thoughts and prayers are with you. Tomorrow night, much more on that. And now for Bob Dvorak, this is Rob Pratt. Have yourself a great rest of today, the Easter holiday, and as Passover continues. Also, it's Easter Orthodox Sunday as well, so many blessings to all of you. Have a great day, everybody.